Manchester City 4, Liverpool Football Club 0. A battering, in all intents and purposes, at the Etihad this evening. It can't be how Liverpool wanted to perform and play in their first game as official Premier League champions. That will undoubtedly be a huge frustration to them. But we have to always put these things into perspective. They're champions of England. They've been celebrating all week. And I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate tonight, but I'm going to be really fair and balanced. Liverpool fans, are you frustrated and angry at the performance, or do you not care at all? I've seen some Liverpool fans say, we've been on a bad run of form since the end of February, and they don't feel like they're out of it. We should really be utilizing the end of the season to get back to winning ways, playing brilliant football, and get ready for our title defense. I'm neutral to this. I'm going to ask questions. I see various Liverpool fans saying, but not a great performance tonight. An absolute battering 4-0. Arguably should have been 5-0 at the end, but the weird handball rule cost the goal. Do me a big favor, hit the like button. Please hit the share button as well. If you're watching on Twitter, please give us a retweet as well. Silver, a comment here from Silver says, "Are City now back in the title race?" Obviously not, but it's a nice way to respond from City, I suppose. I walk away going, you know what? We have to give them a guard of honor to show them what we're made of, to show them that we're going to come back next season fighting hard and fast. We're going to jump into a few calls. First up on here, we have Stephen. Stephen, welcome to the Football Terrace. He celebrated becoming champions a week ago, slapped by City tonight. How do you personally feel about it?
Obviously, mixed emotions. Very disappointing tonight, obviously. Give it fair play to City tonight. They're not one of the best teams, for a reason. They've got a great squad, you know what I mean? And you got fair play to them. But I'll go as I play with the match tonight. First off, when I saw the Guard of Honor, I laughed my head off, obviously, because why not? You'd be giving us a Guard of Honor, and looking at City, they could probably be embarrassed by that, and they probably wanted to go and get a performance out of that, which fair play to them, they did that. And today we just didn't. It wasn't our day, and I thought we could have had more clear-cut chances. They were there in the first half. City looked pretty shaken. There were a few times they were shaken, and I think there were a few chances I thought Mane should have put in a goal, or Salah, even Firmino. Just after that penalty, we switched off, and which is very unlike us. But I'm not too hard and being not off about it. Like I would have, if this was Watford a few months ago, I would probably be livid. But as we are now crowned champions, there's no need to rant or get angry over it, because we are crowned the champions, and we just move on now, and that's the bottom line of it in terms of me as a Liverpool fan.
Mate, I totally get that, Steve. Thank you very much for coming on, having your say. There we go. What Steve has said, I agree with a lot of what he said there. Why would people be overly angry? But my question still remains to the rest of you tuning in. I've seen some Liverpool fans seem really angry on social media. Next up, we've got B-Man97. B-Man, Liverpool just get beat 4-0 by Man City. Give me your views and opinions, mate.
Terry, that was a bad whipping. That, you see, I live in the hood, my man. All right. Well, you call that a beat down. And people will say, why aren't you angry? Well, you should be angry. Let me remind the people at home, Terry. 3 years ago, remember when Pep first arrived at City? City didn't do that well that season. And people were laughing at Manchester City, and they became a laughingstock, and that ignited the fire in them. And you know what they did after that? They came down like a locomotive. No one could stop them. The only way Man City was stopped, it took Liverpool, who have a very good side, who are Champions League winners, who are very special, having them each and everything had to go right in order for them to dethrone Man City. And tonight, my depression just returned, because we saw that giving them that God of honor, that humiliation. I saw a fire in Manchester City that I haven't seen since that 2 years ago when they first won the title under Pep, where they made the entire league look like a joke. This is bad, people.
You think it's that bad? Is that not an overreaction? Is it just not, is Liverpool a bit drunk, a bit hungover? They didn't look at the races. Is it not more along those lines?
Terry, it would be easy to say that, but let me tell you something. Manchester City, when they get going, bro, you pep teams, how pep teams are. When they get going, remember, let me digress from football a bit. Remember when Lewis Hamilton, for racing fans, Lewis Hamilton was fighting up with Rosberg. Remember when Rosberg first won the title? Because before that, people don't remember that Rosberg won 5 races in a row. Got a lot of momentum going into the next season. So momentum counts, especially if you're going to have a team that is talented as Manchester City. And look, man, because Liverpool has been so great this year that we have forgotten who the hell Manchester City are. And today they reminded us. And look, they're going to go out in the transfer market and they're going to address the shortcomings. I mean, remember the first game they played at Arsenal, I looked at the bench and I said it wasn't fair. My first thought was, if you took those guys in the bench for Manchester City in that game and you added them to the team, you would have won that game. But you know what? They didn't do that. Because what did they end up doing? What did they end up doing?
Not too sure what happened there to B, man. We're going to jump next. So we're going to throw Stroh in here. Stroh. Oh, mate. I mean, that was a slap, bro. It was a slap.
Yeah, it's not great. It's one of them. Like, there's a number of different things. Robertson looked like he was still partying. Looked like he just wanted to get in the mix of it. Like, his positioning for the first 2 goals was awful. The second one, he leaves Van Dijk so exposed because he was just getting drawn inside constantly. And this is where you need to give credit to Pep. He played Foden in that little hole that's in between him and Van Dijk, and Robertson didn't know whether to go with him, whether to stay. But yeah, looking at our previous since February, it is slightly worrying. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I'm not going to overreact and say it's the end of the world and stuff like that, because look, we're still Premier League champions. We won the Champions League last year, but it's something that definitely needs to be addressed before the start of next season. And whether it's a case of just playing the players to get them back into a rhythm and kind of playing them into form, or whether it's we need to go out and strengthen, something needs to change, because again today we've not scored an away goal in the past 5 games now.
Yeah, that's the one area where I sort of sit there and I'm trying not to sound salty as a Man United fan. I think to myself, it's the form. You know, it's that run of form. And you remember last season when sort of Spurs made it to a Champions League final, could have won a final, could have won that tournament. But things were going wrong in the league months before that. They had their preseason. They started the season. Oh, it's been a bad run of form since losing the Champions League final. No, that was going on from the January. I just feel like Liverpool need to address it, just to blast some cobwebs out. Just let everybody know. Listen, yeah, because it's all just people's opinions. I remember some people saying when you started losing to Watford and Atletico and you struggled against Bournemouth and West Ham, have Liverpool been found out? Has the system been found out? And I remember going, no. But now you've returned and it's a draw against Everton. And yes, you slapped Palace, but then a really poor performance tonight. And I know you're champions. But where the fear would come in for me as a fan, if I'm thinking about it from this point of view, is if we just assume that we're playing badly now because we're champions, but actually it's a little deeper than that. A few teams have worked us out. That's where I feel the transfer market is key. And if you don't add players in the summer at all, you only sign players at the level of Berg. And if City do spend big, if Chelsea spend big, if United spend big, I would be I would always feel that it's a little bit arrogant to think we can just go and defend our title without needing to improve the team.
Yeah, so I've been heavily critical of Pep Guardiola this season. Listen, unbelievable coach, one of the best managers in the world. But the reason I've been so heavily critical is because I've said this on From a Third Eye View for months and months in advance. The fact that he never went out and replaced Company and got another centre-back, to me, was all ego. Because he felt like he could just play Fernandinho there. And to me, that's one of the reasons why City is so far behind, is because you've seen it tonight. Although we won at the races, how many times did they get caught on the edge of the box? If that's a full firing Liverpool team, it's a complete different game. And the thing for me is I don't want us to fall into that same problem where now that we've done it, we're king of the hill and it's a case of come and beat us. No. We need to we need to go out. We need to strengthen because I mean, you looked at it tonight. They're bringing on Mahrez, players of that ilk, and we're bringing on Origi, who, don't get me wrong, has scored some big goals for us in key games, but he's not ever going to break into that forward three, and I want people challenging the forward three because there's games, for example, Firmino, I am the biggest fan of Firmino, but there is games where he is a bit quiet, and you could bring on a striker who would push him in, would get better performances out of Firmino and push him for goals.
Like a Werner, someone like that, mate. But listen, Stroh, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate it, and we'll chat to you again soon, mate. Take care of yourself. Thank you. And next up, we're going to throw in Ram. We're going to throw in one of our members, Dwayne, as well, both Liverpool fans. Dwayne, first of all, give me your reaction to the performance tonight. Is it something that's a worry, a concern for you, or is it just this is practically pre-season now for you? How are you looking at this?
You know what? Even though Liverpool won the league and stuff, this is a very painful defeat because I just feel that this City performance actually exposed Liverpool shortcomings, especially in the midfield. If you're playing the high energy midfield like they currently do, which they have steamrolled the league, it does work against certain teams, but not against some quality teams that have good ballers in the midfield. And I feel Liverpool really lacks a good midfielder, like a Kevin De Bruyne type of midfielder. I know it's not the easy thing to come by, but they do lack that sort of player in the game. And they really weren't at the races today. I just think that, as you said, probably maybe they may be a bit drunk, but just a very disappointing performance. And I think this should be a message to Liverpool to buy players because this team is not the finished article. In order to challenge for next season, they have to buy players.
Yeah, mate, I do hear that. It says getting beat in pre-season doesn't mean anything. And I also get that point there, James, with the super chat. Thank you. And this is what I'm literally in two minds, and I'm trying to be neutral. There's a part of me that just thinks there's no matter to this at all because you've won the league, and you half your players are hungover, and it's just a relax. But then there's that little bit of me that thinks, yeah, but you were being found out a little bit and had really bad performances in a number of games in and around the Watford defeat before and after it in multiple competitions. What if there is a hangover? What if Liverpool's burnt? Like a lot of people speak about. I had a guy commenting earlier on today saying, Klopp's Dortmund team burnt out, and then you're sort of sitting there thinking, what if this is Liverpool's team starting their burnout now? I'm not saying it is, but as you said, they need to address that. How you stop there being burnt out is by signing 2 or 3 players in the summer to ensure there's competition, and on top of that, to ensure that there is competition for places. So I think that it's getting the balance absolutely right. That's the important bit for me from Liverpool in relation to that. But listen, Dwayne, I appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. We'll chat to you again soon, my man. Thank you very much indeed. Next up, we're going to throw on Samuel AFC. He's going to be in the house. And we're also going to throw on Ali. Yes, Ali as well. Samuel, what do you want to say, mate?
I think Liverpool gave up the so-called title of greatest Premier League team ever tonight. I think this is just thrashing. Like the treble winners, I've never seen the treble winners get smashed like that. I've never seen the Invincibles get smashed like that. I never saw Jose's Chelsea from 05 get smashed like that. That title that these Scousers give themselves, greatest team ever, it's gone tonight, in my opinion.
What? So they can't be the greatest because they lost 4-0 to City?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, look, they didn't have that much competition, and it's the mentality. Or they have the best mentality in the league, in my opinion. But the thing is, it doesn't matter if you've won the league by 25 games, 100 games, you still got to perform, and they got smashed. And this game could have huge consequences on next season. This game could have huge consequences because the confidence is there. It's just, I know it's the off day, but next season Man City will have momentum, saying, "Look at these lot, we smashed them. We smashed these lot last season, and we didn't have a lot of the players, and most likely Liverpool are not going to sign anyone. Well, City will, and I think this game could be costly to Liverpool in the future."
There we go. Samuel, thank you for coming on and giving us your opinion, mate. I'm sure there'll be lots of people that want to challenge what it is you've had to say. Next up, we've got Ranting Bugs. Ranting Bugs, what do you want to say, bro?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, go on, speak up.
Yeah, actually, I am a Liverpool supporter, so I was just watching the game. So according to me, I mean, we all are praising Pep Guardiola for for his offensive play and all that. But the thing you were talking about that Liverpool have found out. So exactly the same thing which Watford did. They played a 4-4-1-1, and in the same way, if you'll see the City lineup tonight, when they were defending, they played 4-4-1-1, whereas Jesus was on top, De Bruyne was playing on the as a number 10, Foden and Sterling was played on the either wings. So it was the same system with Watford implied. So I guess they because that with that system they are able to restrict the Liverpool fullbacks. So
Yes.
that is what it is happening. So I think with the signing of, I mean, with the linking Liverpool linking with Felipe Coutinho or Thiago Alcantara recently, I think they need a midfielder with a guile in between who can break up that line between the midfield and the defense. So that the because the only outlet that Liverpool had tonight was Van Dijk chipping in long balls toward Mane and Salah.
Listen, I hear that, and it's interesting because a lot of people have spoken about Liverpool being found out, and I don't. It's an opinion, it's a hypothesis. We have to wait to see the proof in the pudding. Let's watch these remaining few games. Let's see whether they were quite. I was looking at Liverpool's fixtures, and they played the big games of Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea. You got Newcastle and Brighton and as well. I don't know. They've kind of got themselves out of the relegation fight. But there's 3 or 4 games where there's something competitive within the game for the opponents. Let's see whether they try and adopt the same system as City did tonight, or Watford, or Atletico. And even when you go back and look at the Bournemouth and West Ham games that you won, those games are really, really sticky. And I think that will be an interesting one, because then it's the ball's then in Klopp's court. How do I then change my system? If people are going to start nullifying my fullbacks where my main creativity comes from, if that's going to happen, then he has to then adjust his system. And that's part and parcel of football. Sometimes it's about buying new players. Sometimes it's about changing the formation of your team. And the interesting thing is, the boys on the United podcast, Flawless and JV, have said this many times, that Klopp has been trying to find a top-class attacking midfielder for a while now, and it's never really happened. Maybe he's always felt, not that Trent and Robertson can't do it, but maybe he's always felt, we're getting away with this for a long time now. Nobody kind of blocking off our fullbacks. Maybe we do need something more through the middle. So, but that's only really going to happen if there's summer signings. But listen, I really appreciate you coming on, mate, and having your say. We'll chat to you again soon. Thank you, Ranting Bugs. Next up, we've got Billy. Billy on the show. What do you want to say, mate?
Absolute battering. Absolute battering. I don't believe what people, all these Liverpool fans saying, "Oh, we're still on the piss. We're still drunk. We weren't trying." You could tell they were trying. They were trying. You think Klopp's going to be happy with that? You saw Henderson on the pitch. He was going mental. He was giving it his all to the end. Just face it. You got beat 4-0 by I still believe City are as good as, well, if not better than Liverpool. They're a phenomenal side. It's watching the game. It's just hard to believe that they're 20 points behind. It really is. And Liverpool, they've got to look at this and think, we've got to keep going. We've got to improve the squad. I've said this before. If people think Klopp's going to get Premier League titles out of this same group of players year after year after year, you're deluded. You have to keep refreshing the squad. You really do. You have to keep competing, because they'll just fall behind.
Yeah, I get that. We're going to add Ram. We're going to have David, because we are ending the stream pretty soon. There's a few things I've got to crack on with. But I want to ask, we're going to have KJ to this as well. Based on what Billy was saying there, and I know Ram, we're joking that you're fearful. When you see a result like tonight, when you know that other teams in the Premier League are going to go big, are you worried about Liverpool complacency? This, because I'm seeing comments, and why should we be worried about this at all when we're winning the league? And I understand that train of thought. However, there is the notion, quite a few Liverpool fans have come on this show tonight and said it isn't me, it's them, that they're worried they're being found out. They're worried that people are working out how to nullify them. And if you're being nullified, you have to change something. And if you're not going to sign anybody, how are you going to change it, Ram?
Yeah, just on the game, it was pretty annoying to watch. I mean, so many loose passes, so many passes were just not working. And nothing was working. The only times that were working was when Henderson was actually being a little bit direct and just tripping it into the box. and mine are just like this really bad time. So yeah, it's a bit difficult. But I think in the summer, I think we need to have a look at some of these players that are available. I think there are a lot of decent players going out on a free, like Willian and Ryan Fraser. I think they should have we can't pay the fee for people and actually try and get some people on a free, which would actually help. We just need some.
I want to speak to David here. 2015, Chelsea won the league with Jose, right? Do you remember what happened the back end of that season?
We kind of just took our foot off the gas. We definitely got beat. At least I think we got beat twice after we won it.
Yeah, and
you drew against us. I think Gerard.
Yeah, that was right at the end. What we saw that season is Chelsea run away with it in the beginning. You had the Fabregas and you had the Costa situation where they were killing it, and it almost by January it was a canter. But then I think you hit around February time, and you won games, but you saw huffing and puffing. You drew quite a few. You stuttered over the line. And
yeah, I remember there was one game against QPR. We literally scraped it with a Fabregas goal, and you start seeing your team starts once you feel like you've won it, you start tailing off because naturally as a human you've already got it.
Hindsight is very lucrative. It tells us it wasn't because you took your foot off the gas. It was crumbling. You were being found out, but that followed you into the next season, especially when Jose didn't get the players that he wanted. And I'm not saying it's going to repeat itself at Liverpool, but what I am seeing from a lot of Liverpool fans is this weird arrogance at the moment that we're gonna do back to back. We can win other trophies without buying people. We're the best. Nothing's going to go wrong. And I sort of sit there and think to myself, in the last 5-6 years, we have seen the complete opposite to what you're saying happen to other teams. And for me, Jurgen Klopp's an amazing manager, got brilliant players, but not buying anybody this summer, I am sitting here thinking, especially if City don't get this ban, this sort of 2-year Champions League ban, it could be massively costly because you know what? If Chelsea would have addressed and done what Jose wanted in that summer and bought the right players, they'd have gone on to win the league the next season as well. But instead, the season started off on a sour note. And as I've said already, if you sign nobody and you start the new season off poorly and lose a couple of games early on, it could be peak.
No, what's it? I feel like you'll realize when teams have found out the system. If teams like Villa and I'm not sure who else your other games are, like if we beat you in the second to last game and we're still fighting for top 4, it's a bit different because we our teams yes, you've had a fantastic season, but the difference between a Chelsea and a Liverpool is on any given day, Chelsea can beat a Liverpool, but when it's teams when it's teams like Villa starting to beat you and making you not look as good as you thought you are, that's when you've got to start looking and thinking, how good are we currently? And I've said this, and I've said this before. I know about this clip with Klopp, because I am not a fan of Dortmund, but I watch quite a lot of Dortmund, so I've seen it happen before. I'm not saying you're on it now, but I think this is your peak season, and you're. If it's like a semicircle, you're past that peak and you're now starting to tail off. It now depends how strong is the competition to try and overtake you and how fast can they do it.
KJ, final thoughts from you, mate. Oh, KJ's frozen again. KJ's internet is the worst, bruv. His internet is the worst. But there we go. Listen, boys, I appreciate you all coming and having your say. Listen, it's only even salt at Liverpool. It's real talk. I think it would be the most.
Truth hurts, man. Truth hurts.
The thing is, Liverpool are amazing, and everybody knows that I praise Liverpool on a regular basis. And it isn't a concern. I want it to go wrong. Of course, I want it to go wrong. I'm a Man United fan, but I just look at it and think there seems to be this unity and ignorance and arrogance around. We'll just be fine, and it's what is it? What is the expression? You'll know this because you're privately educated, David. It's pride before the fall. There's a saying, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's right. It's pride before the fall.
Yeah, pride before the fall.
No, but there's something about it. I need to Google it. There's an actual saying about something hurts more of pride. I don't know what the saying is. Ow. Pride comes before a fall. Is the saying there? I knew it was something like that. And there's an element of it needs to be addressed. And I always tell this story. I used to. When I used to kickbox, there was a guy whose daughter used to train with us, and he was a massive gooner. And I remember him, the transfer window was closed, season was a few days away from starting. And he came into the club, picked his daughter up, and I was like, "Oh, Bobby, how you doing, mate?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fuming." So, "Oh, what's happened?" I was young myself, about 14, 15, whatever. I'm like, "Why?" He went, "Arsenal done me." I might have been older than that, actually, because I think it's in the early 2000s. But anyway, it's irrelevant. I was like, "Well, what's the matter?" He goes, "We haven't signed no one." So what do you mean? He goes, "You're champions, though." He said, "Yeah." And the arrogance to think we can just go and win it again when Man United have improved and this team has improved. He went, "It's just stupid." And he went, "I almost hope we lose the league again this season." They clearly did, because they never retained it. And but he was so right. It was this arrogance that we're the best last year, so we'll be the best again without improving. And life doesn't work like that. And I think that's where Liverpool need to get it absolutely right.
And
They really do.
And what you talk about the Borussia Dortmund team that retained the title, the main striker was different. It was Lucas Barrios in the first season, then it was Robert Lewandowski in the second season. They're completely two different players, and it's just stuff like that. I just hope we sign someone, at least if it's going to be on a free, at least some quality players. Like I wouldn't mind a Willian on our team, because I think Willian is a technically gifted player.
I think Willian will sign a contract. Honestly, I think he'll sign it. I think he'll sign an extension with Chelsea. I think he will.
There we go. But boys, I've got to shoot. I've got some stuff I've got to do tonight before I sleep. But listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Take care. Goodbye. God bless.